this is just more growth. And I think that has just been the theme of 21 Savage's career. Like,
Facts.
I just think like every album we listen to, I would say every 2 or 3 albums we listen to, we're like, this is another growth period for him. It's another growth period.
I would say every album, like he's like the most improved player of hip hop.
Yeah. But the music also slaps.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like this video, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather. We are here with His Royal Highness for the first time in 2024, a.k.a. The Bunny, King Grant.
What's happening, people? We're back. Album mode. This time, 21 Savage. Mm-hmm. The American Dream. Somehow he still believes in it.
Why shouldn't he? different kind of podcast.
Different podcast. But yeah, we're back. 2024. Mm-hmm. It's a new era of album mode, and it's a new era for 21 Savage, it seems like, because American Dream, I would say, is like a different stripe on the tiger, but it's still the same tiger, just different stripes. You know what I mean?
Same word, different font.
Yes, for real. So
yes,
I feel like it's a little bit of a new 21 Savage. What did you think leading up?
I think that there was that trailer that went out with Caleb.
Was that real or not?
So apparently it's real, and you know there is a movie coming out.
Okay.
Coinciding with this. I was kind of iffy.
Explain to them what the trailer is, sorry.
So the trailer, it had Childish Gambino, Donald Glover playing 21 Savage, Caleb McLaughlin playing the young 21 Savage. One thing I thought was interesting was that he had the knife in his head as a kid in the trailer.
Yeah, which is actually not what it... First of all, in that trailer, there's multiple errors on 21 Savage. Like, first of all... Donald Glover as 21 Savage was talking to Metro Boomin about like the beginning, like this is at the beginning of his career.
Yes.
When he had, in real life, 21 Savage had a high top fade at that time.
Yep.
It wasn't until recently where he has it like, is it locked? I think it's locked.
Well, he braided it recently, but it was locked for most of his career, yeah.
Right. So that is just like a straight up error. Like, I don't know how you can...
There's a few in that. And I think, and it's funny, I think that's why you asked, what did I think it was real? Because I think that's part of, like, we're like, first of all, Donald Glover playing 21 Savage, not my first choice. And then on top of that, it's like, is this real? Because 21 Savage is obviously a part of this, so why are there all these, inconsistencies?
Yeah.
But, like, listen, I have the email open with the press release from Sony.
One more thing.
And it says that there's a film coming, so I'm assuming it's real.
And on top of that, I didn't feel like the trailer was particularly well acted. Like, I was... No. I thought when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, there is actually a movie. Mm-hmm. And then on the timeline, I saw people saying, oh, no, it's like kind of like, the previous promos with Drake, where it's like a satire or they're like
trying to... That's what I thought too.
And then I was like, okay, that makes sense.
But this doesn't.
But then I'm coming back, up until now, I was like, I did some research. I was like, okay, so it's supposed to be real? I guess. So the fact that I am in the space of questioning whether or not the trailer for your actual movie is coming out was a real trailer, does not bode well for the movie, I would say.
Even though I have quote unquote evidence that this is supposedly real, I'm still dubious. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some part of me just thinks like it is the Drake and 21 thing, and it is satire. And a month from now, it's going to be like, just kidding, no movie.
Yeah.
Here's a long music video. So I think that is something that I'm weary of. I want to talk a little bit about the rollout leading up to this project because I saw this tweet online talking about his progression album to album in terms of sales. He's one of the few artists from this kind of trap, early 2010s, I say, era, who is actually progressing with every single project. This is his third studio album. And, late October early October 2023, it was announced that he'd been cleared to travel overseas. Now, everyone knows he had that thing with ICE. We found out that he was actually born in Britain.
Yeah.
And
that was insane, by the way.
And I think that is a part of this rollout because this was not a rumor going around. There was no like secret Reddit subreddit saying, you guys think 21 might be from the UK? Like, this was not a rumor at all.
Nobody was thinking that.
So we were all shook. And as well, we're like, is he going to get deported? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So we didn't know what was going on. And he got arrested in 2019. So think about that. That's 4 years from him getting arrested to, this being announced that he can finally travel to the UK.
Yeah.
Went to the UK, had his sold out shows there. It was a huge deal. But, literally a month ago in December, these billboards went up in the UK. And it was an American flag, but instead of, I think it was 50 stars, it was 21. So, we talk about the American dream and that being this project. We didn't put the stuff together at that time.
Yeah.
We kind of just were like, okay, billboards going up, do your thing, fam. But we didn't really put two and two together. And then after announcing, that first single that came with the little trailer, he started posting baby pictures of all the features. And so I like this as like a new rollout for 21 Savage because he hasn't done a rollout like this in the past. This is like, pop star, big act rollout of billboards up that you have to figure out what they mean. These baby pictures that we don't know who they are. So I thought that was pretty cool. But the thing for me that gives me, excitement for 21 Savage project is he has some of the best collaboration projects of this generation, maybe in hip hop history.
Yeah.
And he has 3 of them.
Actually, yeah.
2017, Without Warning, Offset and Metro Boomin. We talked about that when we reviewed Offset's album. Great project.
Yeah.
2020, Savage Mode 2, You Have It There Behind You. Him, Metro Boomin. One of our greatest albums of that year in 2020.
Yeah.
I think it was first year of this podcast.
Yes, it was. And I remember giving it, I think we gave it like a 9, 9.5.
Yeah, 9 is what I'm thinking too, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe we're giving 21 Savage a 9. Like, I respect 21 Savage.
But I didn't see that coming.
But I wasn't like, yo, this guy's dropping like actual, this is amazing work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was a little bit taken aback by that. But yes, we have the vinyl. I even have it in like the red vinyl.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Right? So actually here. I have it in the...
Yeah, let's see the red vinyl.
I believe it's the... Yes, it is. I had to get 2 versions of this, by the way, because when they first gave it to me...
The red vinyl goes hard.
They cracked the label.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
This is all the cracked label on the red vinyl. So I had to like hit up... I don't even remember. I think it's Republic. Right? And tell them that you guys gave me a defective version. Can I get another one? And then they sent me another one. But... this is the one with the cracked label. But yes, I do have the red vinyl, people. The red vinyl of Savage Mode 2.
Impressive. I like that you brought up how shook we were giving him that score because that was one of the first reviews we did where like we didn't talk beforehand and we both gave him a high score. And I don't remember you being a huge 21 fan before that, and I really wasn't either. I would say when Without Warning came out, he was the 3rd guy in that group. Like Offset was at the height of the Migos. Metro Boomin had just put DS2 out with Future.
Yeah.
And, 21 Savage was still he wasn't a flash in the pan at that point, but no one saw him getting to where he was now. And then Her Loss in 2022 with Drake. Maybe Drake's best album in the past few years.
Yeah.
So he, as a collaborator, he is one of the best.
Yeah. I would even say before Savage Mode 2, the singles he had with Post Malone, who is low-key probably his best collaborator.
I won't go that far, but they do good work together for sure.
They have they've done hit songs together, and they came up at basically at the same time.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, even though they have really divergent paths when it comes to musicality. But yeah, 21 Savage is I would say low-key, because I feel like it's not seen this way, but he's like one of the more important artists of our time.
Oh, easily.
Right? And one of the best, too, because I Am Greater Than I Was awesome.
Yeah.
Then Savage Mode 2 was awesome. Without Warning was awesome. The first Savage Mode was awesome. Her Loss was pretty good. Like this, and he's collaborating with Metro Boomin, one of the best producers right now, like of this time, this generation. Drake. Right?
He's at the peak.
Right? Like he's collaborating with Migos, right? Like there's so much, he's in so many different important realms and doing either their best work or some of their best work. So 21 Savage, his popularity at this point is actually totally deserved. totally deserve it. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it's somehow still shocking, even though he's shown us like a few projects in. But
you know why? It's because at the beginning he was so monotone, which he still maintains.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, the monotone vocal pattern is existed his entire career. But when it first happened, again, personally, I'm like, okay, this is like, No Heart was like one hit wonder type of deal.
That's the thing I think too, is he came in the game with heavy hitters. And I think that's a rare thing for an artist like him, is usually you get your clout, you make your name, and someone like Moneybagg Yo, where it's like you get the attention of the heavy hitters, and then they come to you. I heard of him with Metro. That was when I first heard of him. I heard of him on X with Future. Yeah. So that is pretty rare. Before we talk about the actual lyrics of this project, do you have a favorite 21 Savage song? Is there a song that's like, for you at least, you play all the time?
I think it might be Snitches and Rats.
Snitches and Rats is a good one.
I think it might be Snitches and Rats, or it might even be Runnin'.
Runnin's a good one.
Yeah.
Runnin'.
And I think that 21 Savage is a huge R&B fan. Massive.
Yes.
Like this, he wishes he was like Neo or some shit.
Yeah.
But his ability to suck in different genres and this is part of the producer too, but he's the person that selected the beat. Sucking in like R&B or soul samples and incorporating it in trap music, and it being totally normal, and him like using it more of like as a horror concept or a scary concept.
Yes.
When those songs are like about love and like longing, is been like a signature of his music, actually.
100%.
So Runnin' is like, I would say, a very clean.
Runnin's is in my top 5. For me, it's Glock in My Lap. Glock in My Lap is the one that is always like gets me going. But he has done a good job of creating this like sinister sound of like he's rap's boogeyman. Like you don't want him walking down on you. Like it's not going to end well for you. So I like that he's created that. And this album, I would say, is a little bit of a divergent from that, because I think one thing I had in my notes right away was he has less bars with that shock value. Yeah. And when he first came in, he was very similar to Future in this way of like, he's talking about killing niggas and doing this in the most like graphic, heartless way possible. And there's still a bit of that. Don't get it twisted. Like if we're going to do a body count on this album, that's still on there. But I think that he's had a couple albums now where he's said in interviews like, this is entertainment. This is a character, I'm not still, shooting at people. Y'all know my past. I don't do that anymore. Yeah. The lyrics have a bit of that, but my lyrics I want to highlight are a bit of like where 21 Savage is now, is like how you can talk about him being a huge R&B fan, and we can still listen to his lyrics talking about being a murderous criminal, and it somehow still fits. Like he's grown with us to show that duality of, we see him singing on Instagram Live, all the
which
time.
He references in one of his songs.
But as well, it's like he's still the dude who can talk on the rest of the song about, I'll steal your baby mom and kill your whole family. And it's like, that's the progression I think that when Savage Mode 2 came out, we couldn't foresee for him. He was still very much in that character of like the big bad wolf. But 21 Savage now is like, I'm still the big bad wolf, but I have a heart. On Letter to My Brother, on verse 2, he says, Father God, forgive me for my sins. Take the mask off all my enemies out here acting like my friends. Did some shit I'm praying I never got to do again. I put blood, sweat, and tears inside this win. This, to me, this kind of 4-bar stanza does a very good job of showing the duality of where 21 Savage is now. And I think that he is in a place that many, many rappers wish they could be. I think that as a credible person in terms of his past, that people are being like, yo, he's still hood, he's still this, We have never heard any rumors of people saying 21 Savage isn't about that, or he's not whatever anymore. That hasn't come up one time.
That's true.
And it's like, for that to be the case, this far in his career, being this big of an artist, that's extremely rare. And then on top of it, this whole bar, he's basically saying like, and it's part of the whole song, the concept is that like, I'd rather not be this person. I'd rather not be the criminal. I'd rather not shoot everybody on the block. But if I must,
I will.
Forgive me. Yeah, if I must, I will, but forgive me. So I like that we've gotten to this part with 21 Savage where he's told us it's all a character. We've seen him sing on Instagram Live and do a bunch of not gangster things, but he can still tell us he'll kill our whole family and we're going to believe it.
Yeah, and I think that because of how long he's been around, because it's getting close to like 10 years.
His first project was 2016, so this is 8 years now?
Yeah, so when you're around for that long, you have to evolve or die, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that he's been murderous he's been murderous.
Crazy sentence.
For years. Mm-hmm. But then I think I Am Greater Than I Was when it really started to show there's more to the murder, right? There's some beauty behind the madness.
How to get away with murder.
Yeah, for real though. He got to the point where he could make slower songs and it would be like more reflective, right? Like, Tupac has said this on multiple songs. Thugs get lonely too. Yeah. Right? 21 Savage, he literally says that. I think it's in the last track or it's in the Summer Walker track where he's like, gangsters get sad too, bro. Right? So there is an element of I guess, let me go to that part, right? Prove It, which is pretty much exactly what we're talking about, where he's incorporating like the soul sample, right? And then he has Summer Walker, the R&B artist, come onto the track, and then he's making it basically a song about like sadness, but also like, longing for a woman, right?
Yes.
Where Savage Mode 1,
no way.
21 Savage didn't know love, didn't know what that was. Like that wasn't a real thing for him. But we've evolved to the point now, and because we also know him personally to that extent of him singing, right? And being a huge R&B fan, like this is like the number one thing people, that's how you determine if somebody is really a 21 Savage fan, is if they know he's really into R&B. So having that be part of his life, then incorporate it into the music is part of that evolution and allows for a song like Prove It to exist, right? Because otherwise there isn't really a way to maneuver out of being that murderous type of gangster rap except for being like sorrowful about like people dying around you. Right?
Survivor's remorse type of deal.
Yeah, exactly. So when you have a song like Prove It, right? And he's rapping where he's like, it's like, okay, I had to comb out the dreads. She fell in love with the braids. Got her bitch, she can cook and clean. And she eloped the case, right? Your body got me in a daze. You don't matter how you look, you get slayed. Her face card never declined. Man, fuck all that makeup, you fine, right? This section literally does not exist like 5 years ago for 21 Savage.
Hell no. Hell no.
But he also on top of everything I said, he collaborates with Drake. Right? So the more you collaborate with other artists, the more you can kind of like take the bits and pieces away from them and make it be normal for you to actually be making music like that.
Yeah, so, that's a crazy part that like he's even rapping like that. I'm trying to laugh, but I know you're right. It is so wild to think that we've gotten to this place with 21 where that makes sense. And you brought this up on our Her Loss review, which I thought was a great point of like one day we may get an R&B 21 Savage album. And I don't know if we'll go that far. I think from his singing on Instagram, which we'll mention a million times, we've seen he doesn't have the voice for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't.
So maybe not. But I think what you see in this section and all of this album is like, from that Her Loss space, he had more bars and some songs with Drake that were more of the like, they call them songs for girls type of deal, And I think that on Savage Mode 2, there's really nothing like that. As much as we loved it, it is full villain mode on Savage Mode 2. And I think, I Am I Was the not Uncle Always Gotta Be villain mode. That was him getting that part. And then I think Her Loss was the growth of these songs can be just for women and about women. And I don't gotta hurt them or break their heart. You know what I mean? I can long for them. I can want them. So yeah, the growth from him lyrically in that place, I think is pretty incredible. Do you have any other lyrics? Because I want to talk about his flows a little bit.
Okay, we could talk about flows. Flows was in my lyrics as well, so we could talk about that as well. I think flow-wise, right? Well, I'm trying to think about anything else lyrically. I think that this is just more growth. And I think that has just been the theme of 21 Savage's career. Like,
Facts.
I just think like every album we listen to, I would say every 2 or 3 albums we listen to, we're like, this is another growth period for him. It's another growth period.
I would say every album, like he's like the most improved player of hip hop.
Yeah. But the music also slaps. It was like, he it's kind of interesting to think about. It's like kind of like a Jimmy Butler type of career.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's like, started, it was like, it's okay. And then it's like, is he going to be or not going to be? And then it gets better and then better and then better, just incrementally adding things to make him better. And I think that 21 Savage is about that. I think this is another growth period.
Another step.
Right? Because before it was the murderous. Then it was like, I can be not murderous. I can be more mafioso is maybe not even it, but it was just like a calmer version of him.
Yes.
More colder version in a good way. And then it got to the point where he maximized the murderous, which I would say Savage Mode 2 was like,
yes,
it felt like you were in a movie and it was conceptual.
Yes.
Right? So we're like, oh shit, he can make like a conceptual album. That's crazy. Right?
Yeah, I didn't. Not on my bingo card.
Right?
Ever.
And then Her Loss is like, okay, it can you can have some Lover Man stuff on it that can exist for him.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm just going to do the love songs if I feel like it. Right? So
crazy.
That's what it's
crazy.
about.
We're talking about love songs during 21
Savage
Savage review.
But, like, he's hard. Women love hard men.
Yeah.
Am I lying?
No, definitely a fit. I think when I talk about his flows, that's where I think that he has, I don't want to say regressed, but been stagnant. Because he's put out so much music at this point that we've heard every 21 Savage flow. We've heard every type of way that he raps. He's not someone, I don't think, who did we mention last review? Nicki Minaj, who has endless lyrical dexterity.
Every single one.
21 Savage is kind of the opposite of that. Very, very much he has a pocket he stays in. Now, I compared him to Klay Thompson. I was talking to someone about it. And I compared him to Klay Thompson. I said, Klay Thompson also get you buckets.
Yeah.
50, 60.
37 and a quarter.
He'll get you buckets. But you're not seeing Klay Thompson with the jelly around the rim or the cool crossover that's on Sportsnet.
Right.
But the points will still go up.
Yep.
That's 21 Savage. He stays in his pocket with his flow. And the song where that was the most clear is Pop Your Shit.
Okay.
Sneaky, I thought a bit because I said, I like Sneaky, but...
Do you know where that flow from Sneaky is from? I wrote that Abbott.
Where's it from?
That's Vince Staples.
Oh my...
Right. direct. Like, it's a direct...
Yeah. Wow.
Flow jack.
Wow.
Vince Staples is the only person I know that's ever done that sequence. I'm pretty sure there must be other rappers that have done that sequence, but that like at the end of the bars, Vince Staples even has the song is called
yeah,
and then the hook on that is like
I think is a better song than this.
Me too.
But that was the one where I was like, this is like a place where 21 Savage is not stepping outside of what he's capable,
right?
In terms of his flow. And then on Pop Your Shit, that's where it was super obvious to me because one, that beat is great. All the Metro Boomin songs on this, he comes in at the right places. Like the Metro Boomin beats, super slap. But this is another flow from 21 Savage that we've heard before, that slow, kind of like plodding flow. It's like, I'm getting to where I'm getting, but I ain't in no rush.
Yeah.
And as soon as Young Thug comes on the track, it is a whole different song. And Young Thug is honestly kind of the opposite of 21 in that way.
Yes.
Where Young Thug will try any flow. Like, there is no flow that he won't try. We make this joke, but Kyrie Irving, like, he never saw a shot he didn't like. That's the Young Thug. He never saw a flow he couldn't do. And when you hear them back to back, it's like that's where 21 is stagnant to me. I think overall the music has grown and changed. Yeah. But it's like, what can you rap on? How can you rap on it? And I think this is the example where it's like, this is a beat that is very much in that trap hip hop space. But when Young Thug goes on it, it's like you clearly did not hear the same beat that 21 Savage heard. And so that's all over this. He's a bunch of more spaces where that happens. But I think that is where he really is stagnant because there's that and the content that is not the Love Among content. There's that bit of that. I Let It To My Brother is a kind of different than his regular, murderous content.
Yeah.
But it's still very murderous and a lot of the same flow.
Yeah, I would say also on popular shit, he has like a lyric section that I just thought was like really funny, where he was like, Lamb Chunk is talking like a robot, okay, but he was like, 45 or AR-45, AR-15, I fold it out, Paddock or the Richard when I go out, Stone Cold Killer rocking Goyard, Stone Cold Killer rocking Gucci, New Jack City serving Pookie. I just like
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
21 Savage is funny. Definitely funny. I definitely know he knows that the deadpan thing can be spun as funny. And I think when you're in a section where you're like Stone Cold Killer and rocking Gucci, New Jack City serving Pookie, that shit is so fucking
That's
funny.
good.
So,
That's good.
serve for the idea that he also says serving
Yes.
is a thing. You know,
Yeah,
you never really, you would not think of your murderous gangbanger to be like serving anything.
No, he well, allegedly,
Yeah.
21 Savage said that in the crew of Criminal Activity, his role was the shooter, but people usually start as the shooter, is what I'll say.
Right.
There's some serving had to happen first.
Right.
He served his way to being a shooter.
Yeah.
I want to highlight the song with the most plays on this project.
Wait, hold on.
Okay,
one
go
more
ahead.
one more thing you said about flows. There was a flow that Prove It, right? Where his flow basically, where he's talking about that Neely part. Sorry, I want to get this part in because we're about to switch. Where he's on, trust me, I'm taking it easy. I really want to get Nikki. Acting shy, but you freaky. I want a piece, no Reese. I'm assuming he's gonna say Reese, but Reese. She's saying, "Babe, come meet me at the salon. I'm on Peachtree. She know I'm pulling up BP." And then 10 presidentials, no DC. She love Louis and CC. No 2K. I got VC. All right. And then he goes on for a little bit more with the E sound. That reminded me of Ash Bex.
Oh yeah.
Reminded me of Ash Bex, the way Ash Bex rhymes, where he goes with the
Shout out Ashbacks.
da 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 means something something, right? The da 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 da. Then it's 2 syllables to rhyme to end the rhyme, and I'm like, oh, there's a little Ash Bex going on. I don't know if he does know Ash Bex.
He's been in the UK recently,
but
he's in touch with his UK roots. It also similar to that 08 to 2012 flow, the super duper flow. It's like a little
the no VC.
It gives a little bit of that. I think one thing about 21 that we talked about, to be surprised by his success. Currently, as we're recording this, he's number 37 in terms of monthly listeners in all of Spotify, which sounds crazy. And when I tell you the names that are under him, it's going to be like, this 21 Savage, this is him.
Fired up.
So these are the 5 names directly under him. So 38 to 42, all right? 38, Tate McRae.
Okay, wow.
39, Adele.
Wow. Wait, no, stop. Stop it right there. What do you mean he's ahead of it? How?
This is currently. So
Okay.
He has his new music out. I'm sure it's just a little boost. It's not the highest he's been. The highest he's been, he would be ranked around 25.
Yeah. Well, that must have been around the song with Post Malone, Rockstar.
Oh, I was getting that be around her last time.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe her
the
last.
fact that we even have
Multiple
things to point towards.
I know, but Adele threw you for a whole loop. Adele, of course, hasn't put out music in a very long time. After Adele, we have Peso Pluma.
Okay.
Then 41, we have Harry Styles.
Wow.
Then 42, we have Wham. Wham being there is just...
Shout out to Wham.
And anyways, we're going to move on from Wham completely. But...
ahead of Harry Styles, Adele, and Tate McRae. Tate McRae is also low key.
Her song is number 3 right now, I think.
Yeah, so Tate McRae, that's a real shout out to our Calgarian Canadian princess, I guess.
Yeah, doing it big.
But he's ahead of pop artists, basically.
And why I brought that up is like, he, out of a lot of these artists, has not crossed over. Even this album isn't a crossover album to me.
I agree.
There are more of those R&B-ish songs like, the Brent feature, the Summer Walker feature.
Yeah.
But why I wanted to bring up Red Rum is like, that is
not a crossover song.
That's 21 to his core. That's the biggest song on here. 21 to his core. That's the one that has a video shot in London. For me, I'm always gonna see Red Rum and think of the Red Rum by Skepta, and for all the real grime fans, you guys know that song, and that one still to me is better than this one, but that to me makes me think about like, I think that this is not the album for the UK the way people called Drake's More Life, that kind of album. But I think that this is a part of his actual identity one. You know, he was born there. And going there for the first time, you know, releasing his promo there. The UK is kind of, you know, sprinkled all over this project in different ways. Because I think...
Ashbeck's flow?
Ashbeck's flow. And even using a phrase like Red Rum is like... I don't see Americans kind of saying Red Rum in the same way that like in the UK... we know what that means. So I'm seeing little sprinkles of that influence, and hopefully that can help because, you know, we say all the time on this show, the UK is doing it better.
Yeah. How would you feel about 21 Savage on a UK drill beat?
I think that could work. I think here's the thing. I think it could work, but I think I'm going to have the same attitude I have with Pop Your Shit. Is that like on those UK drill beats, some of these guys go stupid. Like it's double time, 4 different flows in one verse, and 21 Savage is gonna like he's still gonna sound good, but it's gonna be such a clear difference. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it's like this sounds cool, and then the UK rapper, you know, insert whoever you want to insert. You know,
it's only what's so weird about drill is that only the New Yorkers figured out how to exist on it. Like people like Ice Spice, Paz Smoke, 504, and you know, even what's his name? Something Cash, the guy who does sexy drill.
But
over
my head, over my head.
I'm thinking Cash Casino, but I don't think it's Cash Casino because I'm thinking Clams Casino.
But I know you're saying Chef
Cash
G,
Cobain,
Chef G, Cash Cobain, those type of guys.
Yeah, they figured out drill like UK Brooklyn Joe, which is the same thing, different accent, same thing. They're the only ones that figured it out. Nobody else. Even Drake didn't even figure it out.
Listen, the common denominator is clear here, and I'm not being biased, but those 2 countries or 2 cities have a lot of Jamaicans. Yeah. Okay, and so you know,
Pop Smoke was Jamaican.
Jamaicans are
Panamanian and Jamaican.
Jamaicans are the originators of the flows. So that's just they're right. That's just it right there. But you're right. If it does feel like there is something there with him when it comes to drill, I think that I'm not gonna rule that out. Maybe a Lucy or something down the line. I'm not ruling that out. For production, I highlighted the only things I like from this project. I didn't want to highlight any of the stuff that was like pretty basic we've heard before. I think 21 Savage is one of those artists where he's always going to have those songs. You know, you're always going to hear a song similar to what you heard on Savage Mode, the first one. Oh, that's just part of who he's been. Even like his best projects, there are going to be those songs where you're like, this is such a classic 21 Savage song.
And I think one thing about this album is that it's not as explosive as the previous projects.
No.
The explosivity is not there, or even a song like Runnin', because I think even Runnin' ended up...
Yeah.
Didn't you have like the Grammy in Runnin' or some shit?
He got nominated, yeah.
But he also had a Grammy in the music video.
Oh yeah, for his Grammy for A Lot. Yeah.
Right. So the song like Runnin' or A Lot, like that, like signature song, I don't feel like it's really on this project.
I have a couple of suggestions. Okay. And this goes into our production because you know I like to ask the people what's up. You know, however you identify, if you listen to music, I'm gonna ask you how you feel about certain albums. And people are talking a lot about this song Nina, the Travis Scott song. Yeah. With him in 21. That's one that people are really highlighting as like the song from here other than Red Rum. If Red Rum is the one you heard because of the video, Nina is the other one. Those strings at the beginning of Nina, good Lord, I love those strings at the beginning. And then those kind of organ and keys afterwards. And these drums sound familiar and I can't put my finger on it. I want to bring it to the podcast, see if you could figure out what it is, where it's from. But here's my theory, because someone brought this up to me and I was like, maybe this is what I'm hearing. I sent you that TikTok a few months ago and it was basically saying Drake and Travis Scott are playing with us and that all these songs are the same beat and it was nonstop and then Sicko Mode and then Meltdown. And it feels as if Travis Scott brought that to Nina. And this is like him and 21's version of their Sicko Mode, of their, you know, Meltdown in a sense. Yeah, this kind of sounds like Coffee Bean a little bit. Like it I can see that. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Astro World, not Utopia. I'm not even how you know what I'm gonna even I can see where you were going.
Like, how much do you listen to Utopia, really? Like, not a lot, I don't think.
No.
But I do think, I do agree. This felt like an Astro World-esque song.
Yeah, outtake. It felt formulaic.
Yeah.
And I think that it seems to be working for sure. But I did kind of raise an eyebrow at, like, you know, the Travis 21 feature being formulaic, because if you think about one of my favorite features from them is their song together on Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight.
Yeah.
That's one of the better songs on there. And that didn't really feel that felt more like raw energy that fit 21 Savage. This one is like kind of like a watered down 21 Savage.
Yeah.
So that raised the eyebrow for me.
Yeah, the production, I would say it's up and down. I would say, like, songs like Sneaky, where I was like, okay, this is, I don't know what's happening right now in hip hop, because Playboi Carti's doing this too, but I'm like, why are we redoing 2016 trap music? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Why are we redoing 2016 Future trap songs? I don't understand. But then they'll have songs like
Yeah, like 100%. What is the reason?
yeah, I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Who's asking for that?
But then there's other songs. The song that he has with Doja Cat, NHIE. I love that song.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's the first song, actually the only song where I like hit repeat on it, where I want to hear it again, like back to back. I think that overall in this entire album, American Dream. I always want to make sure to say like the album name. On American Dream, I think that there is a lot, like, it's very woozy or like slowed down, because I think that he is trying to sell like a nostalgia aspect. And I remember, this is like part of this is like the soundtrack for the movie that is eventually coming out, allegedly. This is the soundtrack to it, right? So I also thought about, I'm like, okay, it's a soundtrack about your life. It's by definition, reminiscent, right? So I think that overall, like, on a song, especially like All of Me, right, is very, very much like that. Even Letter to My Brother, right? Basically, I want to say that's a Drake song, but Letter to My Brother. The production style is like the reflective Drake tracks, you know what I mean?
Yes.
The vocal sample in the background, got the lounge like piano, you know, the loungy keys. And you get to, you know, think about, you know, how sucky life is, or mistakes that I made. That's what it is.
No, and I have that in my notes too. And I like that beat, but it's so textbook. It is. It's so textbook, even down to the content of the actual song itself. And I think that is part of my issue with that song, or that production style of like, he almost can't find the medium in that sense. 'Cause I'm like, it would honestly be a cool vibe if you gave us that murderous talk on, you know, that Drake-esque style production. But, you know, as soon as you hear that production, you're like, okay, it's about to be a little more sentimental.
Yeah, so you're right about the formulaic thing. There is a formulaic aspect to his music, because it's so telegraphed.
It's 100%.
It's very, very telegraphed. But the NHIE song with Doja Cat, I love it. I think that this is a part I didn't highlight in the lyrics, but it's also part of the production. Is like on the hook when 21 Savage is when he's like basically rapping the hook. Doja Cat here. It's like that ain't something I would do. Then you can hear Doja Cat like
the
ad-libs in the background, but it's kind of like hushed. And like, you know, you could, every time he does, like, he raps a lyric, she's like basically almost like chanting, but it's almost like the way I thought about it was like every lyric that he says it's like kind of like she's like the cloud that like is like the lyric comes out and like there's like the cloud like
you know, the
like,
after puff.
Yeah, right. And that's what it felt like. It's like a WWE entrance. You know how the smoke is rolling in, like the person walks out, right? They're doing their whole showboat thing, all that stuff, and like Undertaker, and then you see the smoke rolling in afterwards. I felt like
she was the after smoke.
She's the smoke rolling in afterwards to accentuate it, right? And then I think that Doja Cat's verse.
Oh my gosh, she She's on a roll right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that this was a perfect for just like a little bit of like a step aside. I think that this was a perfect song for her to be on because she's in her I'm a rapper's rapper guys type of bag. So hop on the 21 Savage feature, and I think that her entire section is something that that really reminds us that she is a rapper, where she says where she's like, play by the rules. Oh, here's my favorite part, and again, this is part of the production, but also lyrics is like, play by the rules, play with you, and then she's like, that ain't something I would do, right? Yeah, I would never lie, ad lib. She says ad lib, and then I would never try ad lib, right? I would never holler at you. I would never cry. I would never start no petty beef that do not fly, ad lib, right? So her ability to be meta, right?
It's crazy.
Also, like, adds an element to the song where it's like she knows that where things are supposed to go, and she's subtracting it from the song, right? And it adds an element to the song of, it makes the song meta in that sense as well, because like, this is supposed to be a reminiscent slow song, and it's like slow lyrics and all this stuff, and then by having that ad lib part, she's like, I know that this is like, it's meta.
Yeah. No, she gets. She's like, I get it. Let's see who else gets it.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a cool aspect to just overall the song that I think that combats the formulaicness of everything else, is that she understands the formula and is like trying to subtract ingredients to see what happens.
I think even though it is formulaic at certain parts, they all work. He's doing a formula that works. I think this Doja Cat song, like, this is a Doja Cat song more than it's a 21 Savage song. You
think so?
For sure. For sure. For sure. And I think that this is one of those times where you're doing a feature with someone where it's like, this is a song that only they could make, in a sense. Right. If he had, insert whatever different female rapper on this, the same beat, probably a different song, And I think that Doja specifically rides that line of, I can rap, I got bars, but I'm also pop. So I think that he chose her, great for that one. My last bit of lyrics is See the Real, which we talked about these songs being telegraphed.
Yeah.
See the Real is another one of those where it's like, you hear that right away. Two things from this.
Where's the Drake feature? Where is the Drake feature?
It sounds like Nice for What right off the rip. And then it's like, the keys in those chords is very much an R&B song. And you brought it up, like, that's been something he's kind of like done before. This album, he's done it the most out of any project. And See the Real is like, that's 100% an R&B song. And the hi-hats, you're like, okay, this is going to be hip hop.
Yeah.
But if you took away the drums and just heard those keys, you're like, okay, someone about to sing on this. And I think that part feels authentic when he does that, where it's like, this is, production-wise, R&B, until you hear that hi-hat and those drums, and you're like, okay, this is Nice for What Part 2 without no Drake. So that's my only problem, is that there's some songs on here production-wise that it's like, excuse me, I don't want to say it's a waste, but it could have been better.
Yeah, it could have been better. I think that, I agree. I think that his collab with Metro Boomin, like his collaborations with Metro Boomin, are A1.
A1, every time.
Like A1, A1. So I think that he can kind of get caught in the sense of like, get caught with the Metro Boomin sound, and if it's not Metro Boomin, then he's kind of like, okay, who else is making something that's good right now?
Who am I imitating?
Yeah, and let me pull from them, right? So I would say that's a little bit of a strike against American Dream.
Yeah.
But there's still good tracks. Dark Days.
Yes.
Right? Very reflective, using the guitar in a way it's not as obvious, right? It's somber, but not as obvious. And then, should have wore a bonnet, which I'm surprised that we're not talking about more. Your guy. Your guy is on it.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Oh!
I'm going to leave that one alone.
It has it even continues his tradition from, what was the name of the album, that Larger Than Life?
Yeah.
Where it was more of like a 2000s, it's even got like the vocals in the background. You didn't love that?
Listen, as someone who is pro the idea of bonnet box, if you know, you know. Of course, I felt like I had to like that song, and I did, but I feel like they could have done better. I think that I feel like 21 Brent, it had single potential.
Yeah.
This
song for sure.
And I think that this wasn't that level to be a single. So I'm a little disappointed in that sense.
Oh, okay.
Last but not least, we'll talk about his career as a whole.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Looney. Her song was sampled on Just Like Me. So we're getting a little Toronto love all over the place. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked Burna Boy's part on that. I don't always love Burna Boy on these hip hop features.
Yeah, me neither.
But this one I actually did like.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I actually did like him on this one.
It reminded me of his album where it was like
very much. This is a swap. This is what I was like. This is a swap.
Yeah,
this is the swap. Yeah. I did like it, but again, I'm not. I think he's better on his own stuff. In terms of how this affects 21 Savage's career, I think this is a plus.
Yeah.
I think that this is. I think I Am Greater Than I Was the real first time when everyone was like, oh my God, like this is like a real project, And I think that feeling everyone had, it was kind of the J. Cole boost in a sense. And that song was a huge part of it. And I think that kind of died down because his music after that, Savage Mode 2, Her Loss, was more of what people originally thought about 21 Savage. And I think it's been a slow creep back to that I Am Greater Than I Was era, and this is like a perfect medium. And so I think artistically people will look at him, I think, differently after this project. The reviews online have been kind of mixed, or not reviews, but people have been saying online has been kind of mixed. So I don't know if everyone loves this project, but I just think in terms of what we expected from him musically, this is definitely like another thing that he can be proud of.
Yeah, because the production is varied because we're talking about Brent Faiyaz, Drake, R&B, murderous vibe. So there's a lot of different elements happening, and he doesn't feel alien, right? He doesn't feel alien.
Comfortable in all of them.
Yes, exactly. So there's that's working for him. I think overall it's only good. I mean, I don't think I can't really think of a 21 Savage album that came out where I'm like, or like this is not good or something like that.
No.
Yeah, I feel like
he's been consistent.
He has been pretty consistent over again, which is if you told us this when he first came out.
There's no way.
Yeah, but he's been pretty consistent upward trajectory. I feel like his collabs are always he always has the smart collabs too.
One of the best. I think that is if you're saying what is he one of the best at, he's definitely the best at that like sinister or villain type of vibe, but also one of the best collaborators.
Yeah.
I think, period. Basically anyone he collabs with, he's one of the best.
Yeah, and it's the monotone guy from Atlanta that is the best collaborator. That's such a weird
crazy.
He's monotone, and like for some reason he's mastered it.
Yeah.
He's just mastered monotone, but somehow still being able to have everything around him. Like he kind of is like, I don't know, like the pencil, and like everything else is like a different texture that he just draws on. Yeah,
literally. And he just finds a way to, I think that's a big part of it too, is I remember watching the interviews when he first came out. Very, very self-aware. I think that him knowing himself as an artist is a huge part of him being able to get to this point. Is he knows he's not lyrical, miracle, spiritual. He knows he's not going to have the most insightful thing to say. And he kind of stays in that pocket. He collabs with the right people, makes that work. How do you feel about this cover? What are your thoughts on this?
I think every hip-hop artist in their lifetime has to have an album with their face on it as a kid.
Has to.
Like there has to be some child version of them on it. So this is his one, right? I think that the fact that it like looks beat up, right, is kind of cool because it makes it like feel old, right? And it's his young picture on it, right? So it's supposed to be old. And I like that his real name is on it too, right? Which was something that I feel like not many people knew before the ICE incident.
No, definitely not.
And now I think that the cover is kind of him just like claiming everything. You know, the first name, last name. You can even say it says like given name on it, Joseph, right?
Yeah.
Then it has like registration on it, passport number. Like he's grabbing everything and it's like, okay, this is all me. I'm grabbing it right here.
I like this idea because this is the first time we see a project from him that encapsulates a part of his life. I think that's something that rappers haven't been doing as much over the past few years. It's like, listen, from this album, you could be doing the same thing. I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know, this is like, you can see this album cover and be like, oh, I remember when this was around the time this stuff happened with Ice. So I think that's a cool part of it. I'm not the biggest fan of the baby pictures on album covers. Like, I get it because they're some of the most iconic albums. And so it's like, as a fan of hip hop, I understand. But my only issue with it is that, you know, you don't see the big picture, you know exactly who that is.
Right.
I'm not being like, oh my God, that's 21 Savage, that's a baby. Like, you know, that's not how that works. So that's my only gripe. But I like this concept of this cover, it being kind of beat up, like you said. All this info from him on the cover, you know, talking about his immigration situation and that sort of thing. It's like, you know, he doesn't really talk about it at all on the project.
No.
You know, which we clearly haven't mentioned it. So that's interesting. Maybe there's a reason for that legally. But
maybe that's a good thing.
you know, legally there's a reason for that. But I think there is a part of this in terms of him growing as an artist where he is giving us more pieces of his life, you know, little by little. Maybe 5 years from now we'll get the song about his kids and his family. You know, that will come at some point. But little by little, we're getting there. You have Savage Mode 2 behind you. Are you going to be getting the vinyl for this?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. It's not a no skips either. There's skippables.
No, I'm joking.
There's definitely skippables. Come on, there's
This is
definitely
dramatic.
There's definitely skippables. I think that so I'm not getting the vinyl. What about you?
I'm not getting the vinyl either.
Do you have Savage Mode 2?
No, I don't have Savage Mode 2. Savage Mode 2 I would get. Savage Mode 2 would be the vinyl that I would get from him.
You know, when I say like vinyl cop, like I usually get the vinyl cop.
Yeah. No, you get it right away.
So I actually like my collection of vinyl. There's a lot of new music in it. A lot of new music in it. Where I think for most people, they have a vinyl collection. They're trying to collect older music, but I'm like, I think music that is happening currently is sick.
Yeah.
So I want to keep it.
I think that's one of my things for 2024. I'm trying to do more is get more current vinyl because I don't really like. I've been in vinyl shops and seen like current vinyl and I'm like, I'll get it another time, you know, like that kind of attitude. So, you know, that's something 2024. Because the current vinyl I have is just gifts from people and things like that. Like, you know, I'm not buying as much current vinyl myself, but this one is not gonna make the collection.
Yeah.
I think that there are some production things on here that would make it kind of like close, but it's still a no for me.
Yeah.
Where are you at with the score? That's what I want to know. You got Savage Mode 2 behind you.
Yeah.
You know, you said some good things about this project.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see where you are with the score.
I wore red on purpose today too.
Very bloody.
Okay. I think that this is a 7. Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's a 7.
Okay.
I think it's solid. I think that I think he's funny. Like I highlighted some of the things that he said that are funny. I think that he the flow jack is fine. You know why I'm gonna say it's fine? Because we're at a point in hip hop now where there's like a million artists. Like it's
impossible not to.
Yeah, it's impossible not to. I think it's just because I gave the Vince Staples, I think I gave it a 10 out of 10.
You did.
Right? So I'm like, I'm just hyper aware of that sequence, right? That I think most people would not be.
Yes.
So I'm going to allow him grace for that. Right? And I think that the Ash Bex thing, again, not that many people listen to Ash Bex.
Yes.
Right? I think Ash Bex.
Not everyone's going to notice that. People probably might say the other way around, if we're being honest.
Yes, exactly. They might hear that and then like they might stumble upon Ash Bex and then be like, wait, didn't 21 Savage? Anyways. So I would say that the flow thing, I have noted it, but I will give him a pass. And then I think that you were so right about like some of the songs being formulaic, which I never really thought I would think about a 21 Savage song.
Right.
But it's just transparent in some ways. Like the song, like I think what we were talking about, Sneaky.
Yeah.
Sneaky, and then the song with
The
See
Travis
the
Scott
Real
song. Yeah.
Travis Scott and See the Real. It was just like it's very obvious what's happening, and it like there's not things can be obvious
Yes.
in what is happening, but then there's got to be some sort of panache.
Something.
Right? And I didn't feel like there was any sort of panache. See the Real was seriously nice for what without Drake. That was weird.
Like so obviously too.
But the production overall, I would say, is good. Right? I think that all of the samples that, again, I said it at the very top and I'll say it again. All of the samples that he takes from like soul, R&B, or even like, I think that All of Me has like a, or not All of Me.
No, maybe all of me. The like title track.
No, Red Rum, like it samples
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
Brazilian poem from like 1963 or some shit like
Wild.
that, you know?
Wild.
So their ability to take these really abstract references and fold them into 21 Savage songs and them actually not sounding weird, just sounding cool, has to be applauded. And then 21 Savage is good features. The Doja Cat feature is good.
Yes.
Right? The Brent Faiyaz feature you didn't like so much. I liked it.
I liked it.
You didn't like it that much.
I just got high expectations. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. You know,
Yeah.
high expectations.
I did like the Little Dirk song, even though we didn't really talk about it. I did like it. The Travis Scott, not really. The Summer Walker, I did like his R&B tracks.
Yes.
I think he understands he can make R&B tracks, but you're the rapper on the R&B track, and then you let the features do the R&B part, and you just have to
Exist in it.
yeah, you just have to live with the fact that you're not the singer, but you can still.
I'm screwed.
You have to live with the fact you're not the singer, but you can make R&B tracks with singers on it.
I think also as well, like 21 Savage is a couple years older than us.
Yeah.
He's from that same era of the early 2000s R&B where rap R&B kind of was at its peak. You know, rap R&B in the 90s was when things really started kind of working along a little bit. That was more the remix era. The next era was like we're having rap R&B songs as the single, you know? And I think that's the kind of the era he's imitating when he does his R&B tracks.
Yeah. So like Old Dirty Bastard, basically.
Yeah.
Right? 21 Savage better rapper, I would think, than Old Dirty Bastard. But
Depends who you ask.
I know a certain somebody would say that no, Old Dirty Bastard washes anybody that ever existed currently. We'll talk about that in the second part of the podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think that it's overall good. Some drawbacks, some pluses, but more pluses than drawbacks.
More pluses for sure.
Yeah, 21 Savage, 7 out of 10. American Dream, 7 out of 10. I like it.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
But I like it. What about you?
For me, American Dream by 21 Savage, I actually give it a 6.5. I was surprised that you had a higher score than me.
Really?
Because I think this album is just good. I think, you know, this album is just good. It is missing that panache, like you said, of like what's taking it to that next level. And I think 21 Savage, and with him in particular, if he's, you know, battling himself in terms of a score, all his albums have had that. All his albums have had like that song or those songs that are like, whoosh. You know, like even a song like Glock in My Lap, Running is a song that you could show anyone, 21 Savage fan, not hip hop fan or not, and it's gonna hit right away. You know, they can feel that energy. Red Rum is, I think, supposed to be that, but it's not.
Yeah, no.
And so I think that because it's missing that quality, I can't give it a 7. It's a 6.5 for me. But this is a good album. I think that this is one of those things where the internet has a way of we gotta hate something or love it.
Yeah.
This is just good.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need to get carried away either direction. This album is good. 21 Savage put out a good project.
Yeah.
6.5 for me. One last thing, you talked about you like the Lil Durk song.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I feel like we have only reviewed one project involving Lil Durk, and that may still be the case.
Yeah.
I would love for Lil Durk to somehow make it into this 21 Savage area where we're reviewing it multiple times and talking about where he's at, you know? Because I think that Lil Durk is overall maybe more popular in hip hop than 21 Savage. But, you know, for example, Lil Durk is, you know, past 21 Savage was when he started, but me and you both don't see any avenue where Lil Durk becomes someone we review on a regular basis, you know? So people like him, I hope they can, because 21 Savage, his growth is surprising, is my point.
Yes, it is.
You know, we did not see this coming at all. And this is, 3-4 albums now where we're like, this album is good. This album is good. This album is good. And I hope for that for the other artists who are from where he's from to kind of get into that space. So that's where it's at for me. I like that we're starting off the year with a good project that we both like.
Because what was year before last, it was The Weeknd, and it was literally one of the best albums of that year.
That was a good start though.
Yeah.
And I think last year was Ice Spice. Was Ice Spice the first album we did?
Maybe.
Look how that went.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey. Ice Spice? She's still on.
No.
You think you're that shit, bitch? You ain't even the fart. Okay. That's a bar, by the way. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Album Mode.
Yeah. Please follow us on the interwebs, at Album Mode on Twitter, at Album Mode on TikTok, at Album Mode on Instagram. Find us on YouTube, of course. We're trying to grow, get to 5,000 subscribers. Please head there, follow us, subscribe, like, share, comment at Album Mode. Album Mode Pod or Album Mode?
Album Mode Pod.
Album Mode Pod.
No, it's Album Mode. On YouTube, it's just Album Mode.
At Album Mode on YouTube. And of course, until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.